A year and a half or so ago, I sent out a very, very long email programming philosophy of the main mix. And I felt called to write a follow up to that. But I just haven't been in the mood to write lately. And I have been experimenting with doing video recordings. So here we are. And I'd like to talk about what's changed on the main mix over the course of the last year and a half or so. One of the goals that I set out in that email was to be much more aware of how often songs were repeated and how likely it was that any given listener was going to hear a song multiple times during the week. I wanted to create a situation where that would hardly ever happen, that anyone would hear a song more than once during the course of a week. And that if they did hear a song twice, it would only be twice, and it would be something that was very new and that I liked a lot. That's what that indicates. So that's rather a lot less repetition than had been the case up until then. I felt pretty free to play songs 3-4 times a week if I really liked them. And it just doesn't seem to work as well. And it prevents this really magic thing from happening that can happen now with several of our channels, with the main mix, with Beyond, with KFAT, and more or less the mellow mix too, but maybe not quite as much. But every one of those is something that you can put on for a significant length of time every day and listen to every day for a whole week and probably never hear a song twice. And then do it again the next week and hear almost all new songs, another set of songs, rather than the same ones you heard. That's a remarkable level of depth that you don't find many places. And really been struck lately by the contrast between what we offer in that realm and what's offered elsewhere. I don't know if anyone's ever tried to put on one of those streaming service genre playlists and just, keep it on for an entire week. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you really, really didn't care about music and had it turned down really low and just were paying it absolutely no attention, then that would probably work just fine. But I wouldn't really call that listen to music. I'd call that, audio wallpaper of some kind. So I'm very pleased about that. And another goal that I set out in that email was to kind of broaden the nature of the voices heard on the main mix. And by that I mean to bring in more artists that are outside of the white Western European cultural milieu. Done rather a lot of that over the last year and a half. And I want to talk about one specific new flavor and element that I've brought into the main mix, and that is rap and hip hop music. And my hope was that even though that music sounded very different and kind of jarring in the mix at the beginning, it was my hope that that would settle out in the long term like it often does, and that everyone, me as well as you listening, would kind of acclimate to this new style and new sound like we've acclimated to many others in the past. And My judgment at this point is that that did not happen, and that the especially the more extreme hip hop and rap elements continued to just not quite mesh with everything else we were playing, and got consistently bad reviews and ratings even after they'd been around. So it wasn't just reflexive, no, I don't like that. Um, it was something deeper than that. And there was a way in which that music just isn't a good fit for the main mix. And fortunately, we have a couple of channels coming along in development that music is a very tight fit for. And so if you were one of the people, and I know there are a lot of you who've enjoyed that influx and will be sad to see it fade away, which it kind of already has, rest assured that we've got you covered. You just have to give us a little bit of time. And see, there's the issue of profanity. And I've gone any number of different places on that. Experimented with basically saying, okay, whatever, to language in songs. And while as a whole, I find censorship for language to be kind of ridiculous and a thoroughly America only kind of deal. So I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. And I get where some of the people who've given me feedback about that are coming from. And that there were a few things that were just so blatant and in your face that, you know, even a 3 or 4-year-old would pick up on. There's some people that don't like the 3 and 4-year-olds in their company to be picking up on stuff like that. It's an embarrassing moment, if nothing else. So I'm going to have a little more awareness around that sort of thing, around the degree of language. But I'm not going to purge all music with those words from the library. It just doesn't feel right. The mellow mix is a totally safe for work, no profanity. So, it's okay. Sometimes I wish I hadn't made a commitment to not edit these things when I record them, but I have. So let's let's carry on. So there will be some naughty words here and there, and I will keep them to a minimum and try to understand the impact they have, and will preserve the mellow mix as a profanity-free zone, a safe for work zone. Back to the main mix, there's another kind of style of music, you could say, that I've allowed more of in the playlist recently. And that's music that I would characterize as being very simply constructed, often really repetitious. It's pop music, pretty much exclusively, one flavor or another. Usually with a kind of electronic, production applied to it, because I'm kind of a sucker for that sort of thing, if it's done well. But a lot of the songs themselves and the artists that that performed them really didn't have a lot of substance to them. They're kind of decorative, those recordings, as opposed to something that you would really take in, maybe learn something from, or have a deeper experience with. There's no real deep connection to be had with some of the songs that I've played. And I'm starting to think that that is a bit of a mistake. I think that everything that I play on the main mix should be something that does stand up to careful listening, to really thoughtful, repeated listening. Because if it can't stand up to that, it's probably not going to last long term. And I like discovering songs that just aren't going to last as soon as I can in the process, because there's always something more deserving that I could put on the air in place of something that is just kind of decorative. And no doubt, like everything else that I do, I will do it imperfectly, and there will be times when I say, screw it, I just want to play this. And I'll play that, because if I didn't have that kind of freedom of movement, of, indulging myself, if I didn't have that, I don't know. A lot of work. Tell you, I really, really enjoy those little sly moments of slipping one through, or just kind of bending the rules a little bit. It feeds me. So thank you for indulging me in that. And I've talked for way long enough. So thank you for making it all the way through this. That's impressive.